You're watching Beauty in the Burg Live, hosted by Cindy Stovall. Produced in association with Arts In, a platform showcasing artists, arts organizations, and arts and culture experiences in Pinellas County. Visit creativepinellas.org/artsin to connect with the arts community. Arts In is brought to you by Creative Pinellas. Our mission is to facilitate a vibrant, integrated, collaborative, and sustainable Pinellas County arts community and arts and cultural destination. Creative Pinellas is funded in part by the Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners, Visit St. Pete Clearwater, and the State of Florida, Department of State, Division of Cultural Affairs. Our guest tonight, vocalist and songwriter Daniela Soledade, guitarist, composer, and producer Nate Najar, and live art by multimedia artist and designer Chad Mize. And now, the host of Beauty in the Burg, the warm, witty, and welcoming Cindy Stovall.
Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Beauty in the Burg Live. This is our second show in partnership with Creative Pinellas. We're so grateful. And last time we had quite a large number of people with us, about 13 wonderful performers and musicians and actors from all genres. And this month we've decided to go with our format that we've been doing live at the Iberian Rooster. And that format will allow us to look really personally at the lives and hear the music of Nate Najar and Daniela Soledade, some bossa nova, some jazz, some samba, but really personal stories. Those of you who have been to the show know what I'm talking about. And then we love having a real-time artist alongside the show, bringing us some incredible art. And for this show, we have everybody's favorite, Chad Mize. So without further ado, I'd like to bring Chad Mize onto the screen so that we can talk to him about what he's going to be doing during the course of the show. Hey, Chad. You're muted, my darling.
Hey, what's up? I'm unmuted.
There you are. How are you?
Great.
So you're coming to us from your gallery, I see.
I am. I'm in my little corner nook. So behind me, I have the gallery. It's up that way.
So how have you been managing during this crazy time?
Well, the last 3 months, I've continued to have the exhibits going on. So haven't had anyone in the actual gallery. This month with our new exhibit, I decided to have Saturday hours 11 to 7. So last Saturday was the first time I was open since March. But I've been doing a lot of VR, putting all the art online, and it's been really successful for me.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, you know, you have to come up with innovative and creative solutions.
Yeah.
To get around the issue of the day. Anyway, so tell us what you're going to be doing for us today.
So I did a piece. I thought about voting. I feel like we're about to enter the realm of that. So I created a new piece specifically for this event, and it's my Twiggy, which I've done in the past, but I've added the word vote over her mouth wearing a mask. So it's pretty current, and I'm going to be doodling on top of it tonight.
Oh, fabulous. So you have a base that you've already kind of done, and you're going to be doing the doodles on top. So show us what your starting point is. We're going to be, oh, that's incredible. What are the dimensions on that?
So it's 19 inches by 29 inches height.
And the value is?
Well, the value will be, well, I guess, whatever anybody wants to pay for it.
But I mean, they should know what.
Yeah, typically I would sell a piece like this for around $600, you know.
But lucky for our viewers tonight, we are starting the bidding at what?
$50.
Oh my God. All right, so you can jump on the chat and on the Creative Pinellas live screen, and you can start bidding for this incredible piece that Chad is going to be working on during the course of the show. And at the we're going to be checking in with him from time to time during the course of the show to see the doodle progress that he's been making. And at the end of the show, we will announce a winner. So get your bid on, people, and go ahead and bid in the comment section of the Creative Pinellas live stream on their Facebook page, okay?
Yeah, do it.
All right, Chad, get to it, my darling. Thank you so much for doing this. And oh, you said you were going to be donating 100% of the proceeds to what to charity?
The charity's Rock the Vote. So as a kid, I was really influenced by it on MTV and stuff. So I thought, you know, getting youth to vote for this election is really important. And
yes,
so
that is for sure. That is for sure. Every time we, you know, hope that the young people will turn out in droves, they kind of don't end up doing that at voting time. So hopefully something like this will help, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so get busy and we'll check in with you in just a little bit.
All right, thanks.
Chad Mize, everybody. All right, so guys, I have been preparing this PowerPoint that I usually do at Iberian Rooster for our live shows on Nate Najar and Daniela Soledade. They are just two of the most wonderful performers. Nate, locally, we have known him for so long. He performs here often at 620 in the Palladium and at many other venues, but he's also an international artist. I'm going to be asking him about that a little bit later. And just in this past year, Nate and Daniela have met and realized that they had a very similar sensibility when it comes to samba, bossa nova, jazz. And Daniela's history is steeped in the formative history of bossa nova and samba, and it's really a fascinating story. So yes, we're going to be listening to their music, and of course we're going to be talking about her incredible debut album, A Moment of Me. Guys, you must get this album. I have it on my phonograph all the time. So anyway, without further ado, let us welcome Daniela Soledade and Nate Najar. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey, can you see us? Are we here?
Yes, you're here. You are
Oh,
here.
The
How are you
technology did
doing?
not fail us. Cindy, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us. We're so happy to be here.
Well, you know, before this pandemic started, you guys were one of my last podcast audio only shows on Beauty in the Burg.
That was so nice.
Oh, let me tell you, you haven't lived until you've been serenaded in your living room by Daniela and Nate. I mean, that was a very special thing.
Thank you, Cindy.
So while we get the PowerPoint ready, or we might have that ready, but I think we should, how do you feel about starting off with a song? Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay. So what about the one that we were talking about, since that really isn't associated with the presentation?
The one that you like to listen in your walk?
The one that I love to listen to. Yes.
We would love to do that.
Okay.
Só danço samba.
Oh, I only dance samba.
I only dance samba.
You can't get it out of your head once you listen to it. All right, I'm going to mute myself, everyone, so that I am out of the way. And without further ado, here is Nate Najar and Daniela Soledade.
Só danço samba, vai, 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 vai. Só danço samba, vai. Só danço samba, vai, 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 vai. Só danço samba, vai. Já dancei o twist até demais, mas não sei, me cansei do calypso ou tcha-tcha-tcha. Só danço samba, só danço samba. Vai, 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 vai. Só danço samba, só danço samba. Vai. Pa, 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 pa. Pa, pa, pará. Pa, 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 pa. Pa, pa, pará. Pará, pará, pará. Só danço samba, vai. Só danço samba, vai. Só danço samba, vai. Só danço samba, vai. Pa, 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 pará. Pa, 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 pa. Pa, pa, pará, 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 pará. Só danço samba, vai. 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 Só danço samba, vai.
Yay. I dare anyone that hears that song to get it out of your head, honestly. It's so beautiful, and it's unusual to hear Nate on vocals, you know.
I know. He's been
Well, I'm just
holding
kinda
that
grunting.
secret. He's been holding that secret for years.
I'm just sort of grunting from the distance.
It's wonderful. All right, so let's start with the slideshow. All right, so let's just jump right in and
Look, it's Cristo.
Yeah, we have that in the, I know it's blurry, but we have that in that painting over there.
Oh my gosh. All right, so for people who just aren't familiar with samba, bossa nova, kind of the whole focus of what you're doing lately, talk to us about your homeland, Daniela.
Sure. So I was born and raised in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and our traditional music is samba, as most of you watching should know. Brazilian samba. But in the late 1950s, there was a movement, a musical movement in Rio, and that was the creation of bossa nova. But bossa nova was created with the union of traditional Brazilian samba with the influence of American jazz. So that's how bossa nova came about. And so I happen to have my grandfather and my father, my entire family is artists and musicians and ballerinas, and from both sides of the family. But the special thing about the roots of my family with bossa nova is that my grandfather was very involved in multiple different things. I know they have some things lined up for that. But
yes, let's bring up the next slide so you can talk about it. And we can keep the slide up while Daniela describes it. I did a deep dive into many of the photos from your history, because some of the biggest names in bossa nova and samba. Okay, so we're going to the third slide. There we go. So yeah, let's just keep this screen up while we go through the slides, because we can see you guys.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us about this.
Sure. So the handsome man on the left side is my grandfather, Paulo Soledade, and Vinicius, the two artists in the middle, they're in front of a sign that says Zoom Zoom. And Zoom Zoom was a nightclub, like a jazz club. We didn't call it a jazz club, but it was basically a jazz club that he opened in Rio. And that's where the very first bossa nova shows happened.
That your grandfather opened.
He opened it, and he selected acts, and some of the main artists of bossa nova started playing shows at Zoom Zoom, and that's basically where the movement started, centered around that house, that venue. So that's
All
really
right. So some of the biggest names in bossa nova and samba are Antonio Carlos Jobim.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that your grandfather wrote a song with him.
That's right. They were very good friends. My dad was actually telling me this story the other day. My dad has a sister, Tia Lula, Aunt Lula. Eleonora is her name, but we call her Lula. And in Brazil, when you have a baby that's born, you can't register the child at the hospital like we do here in the States. You have to go to, how do you call the place you go to, a cartório?
Oh, yeah, like the public records.
Like a public records office.
Hall.
Yeah, to register the birth of the child with the father's name and all that. So my dad's sister, when she was born, Vô Paulo, the one in the picture, my grandfather, was hanging out with Antonio Carlos Jobim because they were friends. And so he said, "Do you want to go over there to so that I can register, my baby girl that was just born?" It's like, "Sure," because you need a witness for it. So Antonio Carlos Jobim is the witness on my aunt's birth certificate because they happen to be together.
Right. And one of the biggest names.
That's right. Antonio Carlos Jobim is the biggest name, I would say, in bossa nova. He's the one who wrote "Girl from Ipanema," "Desafinado," One Note Samba. I mean, the list is really long, but yeah, it's really neat. And my grandfather did compose a song with Jobim that we recorded on my album that I released last year, "A Moment of You." So
okay, so we're gonna sing that in just a moment. But speaking of backgrounds, we're gonna go to the next slide. Because now it's Nate's turn. I know.
Oh my goodness.
And then everyone's saying, what does Disney World have to do with Nate Najar and his music?
Well, I'm an orange, so.
You're a Florida native.
Yep, I'm an orange. Well, okay, so because I grew up here and I-4 was not the mess that it's been the last, 20 years. When I was a child in the 80s, it took about an hour to get to Disney World from St. Petersburg. And so my brother and I, as small children, would run into my parents' room in the morning on a weekend and say, "Can we go to Disney World?" And they would take us. We basically grew up at Disney. It was an easy outing. It's like going to the mall. And it was also only $20 to get in back then. So in my childhood, we went to Disney quite a bit. And back then, in those days, they've always had their shows. They've always got, a stage show where there's people singing and dancing and blah, blah, blah. But back then, every show had a live band. Every single show. It was, now you go and a few things will have a live band and a lot of things will just be with a pre-recorded backing track that the people are singing to. But back in the 80s, it was always a live band. And I was never really watching the people on stage singing and dancing. I was always looking at the guy playing the yellow electric guitar. Saying, "I want to do that. That's what I want to be doing." And so it was because of going to Disney all that time that I wanted to become a musician. I was about 9 years old when I said, "I really want to play the guitar." And
so it all started at the House of the Mouse.
That's right. And so for Christmas that year, my parents got me a 3/4 size acoustic guitar and guitar lessons and bringing music on First Avenue North.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. Well, I'll tell you something that's really interesting is one of our favorite drummers. I've been playing with him for years on jazz parties and jazz festivals and he works in my trio sometimes. A guy named Eddie Metz. He's on Daniela's album. He's on the majority of Daniela's album. He's playing a show with us in a few weeks in Orlando. I'm playing with him in Texas next month. And anyway, Eddie Metz, he was in a lot of those stage shows at Disney. He was a house musician at Disney for a number of years.
Wow.
So I always talk to him about, I probably saw you when I was a little kid and you still had hair. First, I had hair then too, but anyway.
So let's move on to the next slide, just so we can get a song in after this too. I really wanted to talk to you about this, Daniela, because Antonio Carlos Jobim, who, as you said, is one of the most famous, or the famous person in the birth of Bossa Nova, worked closely with your grandfather and came into his own or started his career because of this particular show. So tell us about it.
That's right. So that poster says Orfeu da Conceição, which is the Black Orpheus. The Black Orpheus became the movie. That was the play, the very first play. And that poster is hanging in my dad's apartment in Copacabana in Rio up to today. But the cool thing about that is that so Vinicius de Moraes was directing the play, and his wife at the time, Lila, was best friends with my grandmother. So my grandfather's wife, on my paternal side. And her name is Lina De Luca. And because they knew each other, and my grandmother was an amazing ballerina. She was the first ballerina at the Teatro Colón in Argentina. So because they were friends, they invited her to be a choreographer for the play. So my grandmother was the choreographer for the play, and then they needed somebody to write the music. So that's how Vinicius de Moraes met Antonio Carlos Jobim, because Jobim was the one that was going to write the music for this play. So
because Lina and Paulo said we should.
Yeah, my grandfather claimed my grandfather claimed that he's the one who told Vinicius, why don't you call this young composer? He's really good. You know, he used to like to tell the story that he told Vinicius de Moraes to check out Antonio Carlos Jobim. And so that because of that play, they met each other, and that was one of the best things that ever happened in the world.
It's incredible. It really is. The whole movement and the roots and how close your family is to everything that happened. All right, we're going to bring you guys back up on the main screen so that you can sing the song. And I'm going to let you pronounce it because you know that I'm going to not do it right. That your grandfather composed and wrote in 1956 with Antonio Carlos Jobim.
Yes. So the name of the song that my grandfather Paulo Soledade composed with Jobim is Sonho Desfeito. I hope you enjoy it. Quis lhe dar o meu amor, você não acreditou. Foi embora sem adeus e até hoje não voltou. E agora perdido no mundo, vagando sozinho, pedindo um carinho. Só a saudade me acompanha onde eu vou. Quis lhe dar o meu amor, você não acreditou. Foi embora sem adeus e até hoje não voltou. E agora perdido no mundo, vagando sozinho, pedindo um carinho. Só a saudade me acompanha onde eu vou. É tão cruel a dor de um sonho desfeito. É tão cruel que a mágoa nem cabe em meu peito. Se é castigo, que foi que eu fiz? Eu quis amar, você não quis. dar o meu amor. Você não acreditou. Foi embora sem adeus. E até hoje não voltou. E agora perdido no mundo, vagando sozinho, pedindo um carinho. Só a saudade me acompanha onde eu vou. Quis lhe dar o meu amor. Você não acreditou. Foi embora sem adeus. E até hoje não voltou. E agora perdido no mundo, vagando sozinho, pedindo um carinho. Só a saudade me acompanha onde eu vou. É tão cruel a dor de um sonho desfeito. É tão cruel que a mágoa nem cabe em meu peito. Se é castigo, que foi que eu fiz? Eu quis amar, você não quis. Eu quis amar, você não quis. Eu quis amar, você não quis.
That is so beautiful. So beautiful. What does it mean to you, Daniela, to sing that song?
Oh, it's such an honor. It's such an honor to be able to sing any of my grandfather's and my father's songs, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, let's see if we can't find the next slide. See where we're headed here. That was really lovely.
Thank you.
Daniela. Ah, okay. So tell us about this.
So when I was 13 years old, kind of like the moment he had at Disney, I had this moment with this band, and there were multiple instruments. It was kind of like a choro band. So there was a whole lot of Brazilian instruments, and one of the instruments was the flute. And I remember until today, it was this guy with this big curly hair, and he would play the flute and his hair would move. And I was like, oh, and it would sound so good. I was in awe. I was like, that instrument is amazing. So, so I fell in love with the flute, and I decided that I wanted to learn more everything about music and to play the flute. So at the time, there was an exam that was open to the public, and a certain number of people would get a scholarship to go to the music conservatory in Rio. That was in downtown Rio. And I took the test, and I was surprised to see that I was in first place. I was looking for my name towards the bottom. I couldn't find my name. And then somebody that was with me found the name. I'm like, what? I can't believe I passed in first, so I was really excited about it. And because I passed in first place, I got a scholarship for it. So my mom was happy about that. And I went to the conservatory and studied theory and history and played the flute. So it was a wonderful experience for me. But that was when I started playing.
Yes.
My grandfather gave me a guitar when I was younger. I was like 7, and he decided to give me a guitar because he played the guitar. And apparently, he tells me, I don't remember this, he tells me I sold it back to him. And then it was when I was like 14, I wanted to play the guitar because at the time I was playing the flute, and I realized, well, I can't sing and play the flute. So now I want to play something that I can sing with. And so he gave me the same guitar back. I have it until today.
I love it. That's incredible. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Let's see what we've got. Must have been incredible to go to school in Rio, though. Okay.
Oh, it was amazing.
So
I had to take a bus to the metro station and then take the metro to downtown.
Wow. Great memories, though.
Ooh. I love that album cover, but I have to show you the original. Hang on. Where is it? I just had it out the other day. Right now I'm going to make you. No, that's not it. Oh, here it is. Got it.
Yay. That's incredible that I actually found it.
This is the, is it blown out or is it, oh, you
No, you can see it.
focus though. Bird at the Gate. It's the Charlie Bird Trio and a few guests recorded live at the Village Gate, May 9th and 10th, 1963. It's Charlie Bird's trio with Keter Betts on bass and Bill Reichenbach on drums, and guests Clark Terry and Selden Powell. Clark Terry is a very, 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 very famous trumpet player, and Selden Powell was a less known but very, very deserving of a great amount of respect tenor player. But this is a first pressing on Riverside. This is the original album cover for that Charlie Bird and Greenwich Village reissue that you're showing. It's a fabulous record. My God, that's a good record.
So, and the point of the slide was that Charlie Bird was really such an influence for you, Nate. So talk a little bit about that.
This is Charlie's guitar.
See that? That's incredible. And I didn't know that.
He had lots of guitars. He had a whole bunch of guitars.
Is it the one in this picture?
No, that picture was before this guitar was made. This guitar is from the early 70s. This is a 1972 Ramirez 1A. And Charlie got this after Segovia. Segovia, for a very long time, was the leading classical guitarist in the world. And there's a lot of discussion in academia these days about whether Segovia deserves the respect that he got back in the day. But if you ignore all that, the reality is that he was a fantastic ambassador for the guitar. Before Segovia, the guitar was not considered a serious concert instrument. And Segovia proselytized the instrument and the repertoire until it became respected. And but Segovia played a Hauser for many years. And actually, Charlie's probably playing a Hauser in that photo because he played, he actually had one of Segovia's old Hausers when Segovia got another one. And then when Segovia switched to the Ramirez in the 60s, everybody did. Parkening played it. Anyway, and so this is an early 70s Ramirez 1A. This particular one, you can drive a truck underneath the strings. It is very difficult to play. And Segovia had massive hands. So it's bigger than a regular guitar, but it has such a sound. So anyway, this is Charlie's guitar. His wife gave it to me, and I love this guitar, and I play it all the time, and I practice on it, and so forth and so on.
It's incredible to have, a legend like him be such an influence in your career.
Oh, he's, the thing is that with any instrument, there's a lineage of especially in jazz, but it's certainly in other areas of music as well, but especially in jazz, there's a lineage. Trumpet players, for instance, it starts with Louis Armstrong, and then it goes into like Dizzy Gillespie, and then Clifford Brown, and Freddie Hubbard, then Randy Brecker. And so there's a lineage of the development of the language and of the instrument. And with the guitar, for instance, when you're talking about jazz, it really starts with guys like Carl Kress and Dick McDonough, and then into like Eddie Lang and Django Reinhardt. And then from there, Charlie Christian. And from Charlie Christian, you get your Tal Farlows and your Barney Kessel and Herb Ellis. And from there, Wes Montgomery. And from there, Jim Hall. And from there, Pat Metheny, John Schofield. And then it brings you into the modern era. So the reason I'm babbling about all this lineage is because Charlie Bird was an anomaly. He was a guy who played jazz guitar very much in the Charlie Christian style, which was contemporaneous with his growing up. Charlie was born in the 20s, and in the 30s and early 40s, when he was coming of age and learning to play, Charlie Christian was the sound of jazz guitar, and it was played with a plectrum, it was played with a pick, it was an archtop guitar with an amplifier, and it was played, basically the instrument was approached like a tenor saxophone would be played. And but Charlie also had this great blues feeling that he got because he grew up in the middle of nowhere and absorbed in the suburbs of Norfolk, Virginia. But at the time, it was a town called Chuckatuck, and it was just a little middle of nowhere country town, and his dad owned a general store. So Charlie would hang out at the store while his dad was at work, and these blues and country guitarists would come around and just sit on the porch and whatnot. And so Charlie learned all this kind of blues stuff from these guys. He was in the service. He was in World War II, and he was actually in the infantry. He saw a lot of action, and that really heavily affected how he lived the rest of his life, because he survived the war. And when he got home, he said he was only ever going to do things that he enjoyed and forget everything else, because he was lucky to be alive.
I love it.
But he, on the GI Bill, he studied classical guitar. He went down to Washington, D.C., and he studied with a guy named Sophocles Pappas. He was there at the same time that my guitar teacher was there, a guy named Frank Mullen, who was a little younger than Charlie. They both studied classical guitar with Sophocles Pappas, but they both had a jazz background. And Charlie even went to one of Segovia's camps in Siena, Italy. Segovia did these summer camps for about 2 months, where students who showed promise on the classical guitar would go and have this immersion of technique and repertoire and interpretation and so forth. And when he was there, a 13-year-old John Williams is considered one of the finest classical guitarists to ever live. A 13-year-old John Williams was there playing circles around everybody. And Charlie said, I am never going to be a real classical guitarist compared to these guys. So he decided to combine his experiences, and he started playing jazz music on an unamplified classical guitar. He played it. It's a very quiet instrument. He's playing into a microphone, and he's playing blues, and so things, but at the same time, you can do. So Charlie started to combine all that stuff, and it was so hip, because the classical guitar is so much like a piano. I mean, you've got an orchestra in your hands. This little thing right here is an absolute complete orchestra.
So Nate, we've got to move on. I'm so sorry. Let's that was incredible information, and I love that you did some riff on Charlie's guitar. It's a beautiful thing, and it's clear to see how much he meant to you. So I just wanted to bring up, some reminders of some of the albums that you have available for people to have and get.
Well, those are all out of print.
Oh, what about the last one? I wanted to see how you came to, move into samba and bossa nova.
Well, so the Brazilian music has always been part of my lexicon, so to speak. And I'll tell you, the reason that bossa nova even became a thing in the United States, in North America, is because of Charlie Bird. 1962, he and Stan Getz recorded an album called Jazz Samba. And they recorded this album because the year prior, Charlie had done a State Department tour of South America. The U.S. State Department was sending jazz groups all around the world for goodwill. It was their way to fight communism, was to send jazz groups around. A tangent is there's a really famous story of Benny Goodman's band going to Russia, which it's a really hip story if you Google it. But so Charlie had done a tour in South America, and he came back with all these Gilberto records and all this sheet music, and he was hanging out with guys and listening to how they played. And he said, we should record some of this music and play jazz over it. And his wife at the time, his first wife, Virginia, Ginny Bird, she suggested, you should do it with Stan Getz. He'd sound great on this stuff. And so in one 3-hour session at the Unitarian Church in Washington, D.C., they recorded this record. 1962. It won the Grammy for Best Record of the Year. It was Desafinado was the first tune on it, and it was a jukebox hit. It made them massive amounts of money, both of them, and it brought bossa nova to the North America. So because of Charlie, ever since I started doing what I do, I've always played a lot of that repertoire. And so I did in 2013.
Fascinating to me how kind of all the lines intersect in the stories that we're telling about both of you.
Oh yeah. So I did a record for Candid Records, the great European label, in 2013, Aquarela do Brasil, because I wanted to do a record of every single record I've ever made has some Brazilian music on it, every single one. But that was I wanted to do a record of all Brazilian music, and so I did that one that you had shown the cover for. So of course, when I met Daniela, it was it was too good to be true, so to speak.
Because all of the while we're talking about this, let's go to the next slide. All right. So I bet a lot of people don't know, Nate, that you had with Melba Moore a #8 Billboard chart hit with Groove Me.
That was a terrific experience. I love to play the electric guitar. I'll tell you, I don't think I'm very good at it, and I don't play it very often. But I do love to play the electric guitar, and I love R&B music, and I love soul music, and I have spent many years kind of on and off playing with various R&B groups and smooth jazz groups, just because I like to work and I love music and I love to play the guitar. And it's a good opportunity to do something that expands your vocabulary and experiences. And so I was doing a lot of electric guitar playing kind of around the end of the last decade, 08, 09, 10, right around there. And this new record label called Woodward Avenue Records was starting up. And I've got to give them credit. Mark Nordman is the president of the label, and it was his idea completely. He liked the way I played. I spent a number of years playing in Eric Darius's band, and I'm on a few of his records. Eric is he's from Tampa, and he lives in LA now, and he's a very, very successful and very well-known smooth jazz saxophonist. And so I met these people because of my association playing with those kinds of bands. And Mark Nordman at Woodward Avenue Records, he says, I want to do this thing. I think you should do this with Melba Moore. It'll be fantastic. And I said, I'd love to do it. And we got Rick Braun to produce it. We recorded it in LA, and it came together. It really was, I'm really proud of that record. It's just a single, but I'm really proud of it. And
it charted on Billboard. I mean, that's just incredible. It really is.
I tell you, it's a lot of good has come out of that record. I'm really pleased with it, and it's nice and it's fun and it's unexpected from me, So
look for Groove Me. And while we're moving to the next slide, everyone, I want you to remember that Chad is busy working on his masterpiece in the background, Voting Twiggy with doodles. So you guys need to start getting some bids in, because we want it to go to someone. And I think the starting bid was $50. I don't have all the chat. I don't know if there are bids in yet, but I wanted to remind you about that. And also to remind you about the link to Tip the Artist, which we will bring back up again very shortly. All right, so Daniela, this is your debut album, A Moment of You.
That's right. We released this album. Nate produced it. It was Nate's idea. You're talking about who had Nate's idea. We met at the end of 2018 and played a few gigs together. And then beginning of 2019, he said, I'd like to produce an album for you. I'm like, sure. Yes. So that was great. And we worked really hard. We put so much love into that album. We are really proud of it. We got a lot of good things out of this album. We got a Downbeat review. We toured the whole country. a whole bunch of reviews that I just added to my website. If you guys haven't checked it out,
I read
that's-
them. So impressive.
yeah, I just added that the other day. So a lot of great things came out of this album. It's available as a CD, a vinyl LP, or a digital download on my website, which is myname.com. And it's also on all streaming platforms if you guys want to check it out. And on that album is the song that my grandfather wrote with Jobim. There's a song that my father wrote for his guitar teacher.
And you wrote the English
and
lyric?
I wrote the English lyric for it. And then there's a song that I composed. So there are 3 generations of Soledades in the album.
I'm surrounded by
I love
Soledade.
that. And speaking of which, well, we'll talk about how they can get the album closer to the end, but let's go to the next one because we're going to be heading into a song because of this man right here. Daniela, tell us about it.
Yes, so the handsome man on the top is my father, Paulo Soledade. And that Baden Powell record says Charlie Bird and João Gilberto, which is really neat how it's all tied together. But the picture is Baden Powell, who was one of the greatest Brazilian guitarists. And he happened to be friends with my grandfather and therefore was my dad's guitar teacher. When he was 13, from 13 through 16, Baden Powell taught my dad guitar at his house. He would come over. My grandfather would pull a bottle of whiskey out of the cabinet, put it on the coffee table, and the lessons would last about 4 hours because it was more of a social, a social gathering with a bottle of whiskey involved. So, but yeah, that's my dad's guitar teacher, Baden Powell. And as you can see, it's all tied together. Baden has several songs that he wrote with Vinicius de Moraes. I mean, they're all part of this circle of the bossa nova movement and the greatest musicians in Brazil.
Baden's one of the greatest guitar players that has ever lived.
He's amazing. He's amazing.
So of course that led to the song that your father contributed and that you also added to Song for Baden.
That's right. The one song that my dad wrote on my album, A Moment of You, is a song called Song for Baden. Okay. He wrote it instrumentally, and his wife who's a singer, wrote the Portuguese lyrics, and then I wrote English lyrics.
Beautiful. All right, I'm going to step out of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, Daniela Soledade, Nate Najar with Song for Baden.
Right? 1, 2, 3. I've learned so much with you about myself, my sound. I found myself in your dream, in your guitar, but it's hard trying to explain in just a single song the feeling strong. You taught me how to live my life, to fly within myself. I wouldn't know the dream is so much more, 'cause I know you by heart. I have found myself because of you, to give you a love song from me, to open up my life. You have made me feel the dream is so much more, 'cause I know you by heart. I have found myself because of you. I wish you to be so happy to see you smile. In my heart I feel the love. I know that you believed in me. I'll always keep your memory in my heart. That's why I made this song. It's because of you that I belong. It's because of you that I belong. Baden, dear friend. sonho é bem maior, porque te sei de cor. Você me fez nascer tão melhor. Te dar uma canção de mim, cantar com emoção. Quero te viver, o sonho é bem maior, porque te sei de cor. Você me fez nascer tão melhor. Eu te quero tão bem, meu coração me dá a certeza de ser e de acreditar. E é pra lembrar você no coração que eu fiz essa canção. Te dou a minha vida, meu irmão. Te dou a minha vida, meu irmão. Verdadeira.
Amazing, 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 amazing.
Thank you.
What a lovely tribute to your father's good friend.
Yeah, my father is so funny. He's not savvy at all on, social media or Facebook or email or anything online. He's very good at Pro Tools, but he said, "Can you find?" Badin has two sons. One is in Brazil, one is in Paris. And I told we went to Paris earlier this year to record a video. So he said, "Can you find Philip and send him this song for me, please?" So I tracked Badin's son down the other day and sent him the song that he wrote for his father. It's really nice.
Wonderful. All right, so I know there's another slide, but what we're going to do is check in with Chad first, and I'm going to leave that last slide for you guys to do the song that ties in with Chad's work as well. Okay, is that all right with you guys?
Of course.
Thank you so much for all this great information. And also everyone out there, get ready to send in some questions. We're going to have like 10 minutes where we're going to ask Chad, Daniela, and Nate any questions that you like. We have some prepared as well. So go ahead in your comments and ask a question. In the meantime, Nate and Daniela, we're going to send you off stage for just a moment. Thank you so very much. And we're going to bring in Chad Mize, or AKA Chizzy, as he is working on his, I don't know. Are you there, Chad?
I'm here.
Yay. So how's it going? How is it going? Where are we?
So, show you you see the.
Oh, yes.
It's kind of hard to see. But...
No, I can see. That's incredible. All right, we've got $100 bid so far. So everyone, if you want to own an original Chizzy that is worth a lot more than that, you need to get on the stick and send in some bids via the comment section. And Chad, we've got a few slides for you too, my darling. As Desi would say, you have some splaining to do. So everyone that knows and loves you and follows you on social media sees how much nostalgia and kind of the history of your life means to you. And I love that because I kind of feel that way too. And I love looking at some of these old pictures of you. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, I love retro. I like all the warm feelings you get from like old photos and good memories. And I was lucky to have a great family growing up that supported me through everything. And so, yeah, I mean, and my mother took a lot of photos. So my mother is playing.
She was a woman ahead of her time, apparently.
Yeah. And these are all, I have all these original photos. I love having the, digital is so different than having that tactile of an actual photo. I miss that.
So I'm seeing two things: an obsession with Spider-Man, number one.
I guess so. I don't remember that.
But... You don't remember it because you got, when you're drumming, you got the Spider-Man shirt on.
Yep. Yeah.
And I love how you
Hundreds.
superimposed the Mize Gallery logo.
I was wearing it back then.
And what's with the drums?
The drums probably lasted maybe 6 months. It was a Christmas gift from Santa Claus. So my sister and I would perform for my parents. So I have one younger sister. We love to dance. We actually were in the talent show when I was in 5th grade and she was in 2nd, and we danced to Prince's Let's Go Crazy.
I love it.
I'm sure there's a video somewhere of that. But yeah.
All right, I'll be waiting for that video. Get your mom on that one right away. And so I see the 90s hair.
Yeah. No hair now, but.
Well, but you got all the pictures to prove that it was there.
Yeah, it was there.
All right, let's look at the next slide. So during all this craziness, it has actually lent itself to you being able to work on your own on some of these great murals, interior and exterior murals that you've done. So what are you working on now? Is one of them the one in the bottom middle? Is that the one you're working on now?
That's the new bodega, St. Pete spot. So I'm doing kind of a doodle style, referencing a lot of their history as a restaurant. There's like to the right of that photo is a long line of people waiting to get served. But yeah, so I'm finishing it tomorrow actually. So
I love it. And so I noticed that like 2 of the common things that we see with you are these kind of hologram repetitive patterns that we see in several of these. And then of course the doodles. But I mean, there's a lot that have, you do a lot of graphic art, logos and things like that.
Well, I think patterns in my life are kind of a thing, like just in terms of my rituals, my posting on social media, my art. It seems like there's this repetitive thing happening. The doodles are kind of busy but clean. It's just line work, but there's a lot going on.
Right.
And aesthetic is, I strive for a clean aesthetic with my work. I try to finish things, and I like things to look finished in a way, and clean and simple. So yeah.
But then also you use your techniques with your photography, with your like the bottom right photo with the pink mural outside, and you've got that repetitive look with the photography. You like this, you love the special effects and the mirror images and so on.
Yeah, I just like to be different and kind of like fresh with my, the things that I do.
Those are the things that are eye-catching though, absolutely. It's artistic and smart. I mean, you've always been, I felt, great at combining great entrepreneurship and a marketing sensibility with your work.
Well, thank you. Thanks.
Okay, next slide. Okay.
Cookie.
The love of your life.
Terrier. That's my Boston Terrier, Cookie. She's going to be 3 coming up. And, not having a child of my own, this is my child, my fur baby. But, dogs bring such joy. Animals bring such joy. And with my work, I love to, support causes and, things like that I love. And animals are definitely one of them.
Yeah. All right. So what's the next show coming up, either in gallery, online?
Well, currently I have a Pride show up called Don't Ask, Do Tell that I curated with Kurt Piazza. And that one's up till July 3rd. And we have Saturday hours at Mize Gallery from 11 to 7. And then the next show is called Globe. And I have around 45 artists, each one selected a country to do. So that'll be a fun July summertime show.
It's got to be a challenge coming up with fresh themes for all of these shows, but you always seem to.
Yeah, there's so many ideas, So since I've had Mize Gallery, which was March of 2018, I've had 27 exhibits at the space. So I try to do one a month. And, some I've done solo shows, duo shows, but most of them are large group shows. And I just love, supporting the community, mostly local artists.
Right. We've got your social media information up right now for everyone to follow you on all forms of social media. And your gallery is on MLK in St. Pete on is it the 700 block?
Yeah, it's 689 C.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Hi on Saturday, and you must wear a mask to get in, by the way.
Good. Good for you.
I have them available. So.
Right. That's what I was going to ask you about. Look at that.
So you can wear it.
A Chizzy mask. I love it. It's beautiful. And you can keep it on all the time.
Yeah.
And put it up and down.
It's machine washable, it's reversible. So if you don't want the pattern on it, it's like solid.
Genius. All right. So show your Twiggy one more time. Let's get everyone out there that wants an original Chizzy that is worth up to $600 that you can bid on and get today. And, Twiggy is one of his iconic images combined with the vote. I couldn't be more topical, and all 100% of the proceeds will be going to Rock the Vote. So get your bids in now, please.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chad. And we're gonna kind of do a crossover now. We're gonna bring Daniela and Nate back. Thank you so much, Chad.
Thanks.
Keep working on it. Okay. So Daniela and Nate, are you back?
Hi.
There you are. I just want to do the last number before we ask you guys questions. So, because I love the crossover here between, what you've done and this image with, of course, Mr. Sun, one of Chad's iconic images in the background.
Yeah, that image is actually from Daniela's music video. And by the way, I've never shot a music video before, and I had this call it a great idea, call it a dumb idea, who cares? I had this idea a few weeks into the social distancing when we were really super locked down, kind of like we should be now, but we're not. Oh, did I say that out loud? Anyway, when we were super locked down, I was thinking, let's record this tune and make a video, and just as a love letter to St. Pete. I wasn't going to put it out. I was just going to do the video just for St. Pete. And so we recorded the tune we have a studio up in Largos. We recorded the tune in our studio. And then over the weekend, we went around town with my camera and we shot at the Palladium, we shot at Kawa, we shot at Studio 620. I mean, all my favorite kind of St. Pete things. And Mr. Sun, Chad's Mr. Sun, made it in at a very perfect spot in the video. And so the artwork for the single, we pulled from there because it's just so perfect. And the video is on the Creative Pinellas website, and it's also on YouTube. And we did decide to put the song out properly, and it got playlisted on a Spotify editorial playlist. So it's had something like 50,000 spins since it came out a few weeks ago. So yeah, that was really nice.
It's very nice.
Anyway, thanks to Chad for the great mural. Gave me the inspiration.
For the song Smile. All right, you guys, I am going to step away. Nate and Daniela with Smile.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through for you. Light up your face with gladness, hide every trace of sadness. Although a tear may be ever so near, that's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through for you. Light up your face with gladness, hide every trace of sadness. Although a tear may be ever so near, that's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Light up your face with gladness, hide every trace of sadness. Although a tear may be ever so near, that's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile.
What a lovely cover of a beautiful song that we all need to do right now.
Charlie Chaplin wrote that.
Yeah, are you serious? I didn't
Yeah.
know that. See, that's the kind of thing that I usually have in the junkyard that is my brain. That's why I love doing these PowerPoints, because I love all this kind of information, and I did not know that. That's incredible. So here is all of your social media information going to be coming up. We have a reminder for you to tip the artists, and we have that screen up, creativepinellas.org/tip the artist. And then your social media information, because we can find you in so many wonderful places. Daniela Soledade.com, your Facebook page, NateNajar.com, and of course, what is the last one? It's just another Facebook page.
Yeah, it's my Facebook.
Okay. And you guys are on Instagram too, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's the same as the Facebook. Daniela
Okay.
Soledade Music and Nate Najar.
Great, beautiful. All right, we're going to bring you all on. We have some audience questions for you.
Ooh.
So we're going to bring Chad back into the mix, and I've got some cool questions for you. But we're going to start with Daniela. What is the meaning of saudade? Or
Saudade. Saudade. There's no word in English for the word saudade, but the meaning of the word is it's missing or longing.
Why is it such an important word for?
I mean, saudade is what you feel when you move abroad. You miss your home, or what you feel when your spouse travels or your kids travel. You know, it's a lot. There's a lot of saudade in the world, I think. You know, saudade of old times when this and this happened, or, you know, so saudade is a very special word, I think.
Right.
And we use it a lot in Portuguese.
I was at the studio all day today, and I had saudades that you weren't with me.
I know. Me
too. Daniela, what singers beside your family, obviously, have influenced you? Maybe female singers, maybe.
That's an interesting question. It's changed throughout the years. So when I was a kid, I had influences that were not expected. So my grandfather used to listen to choro, which is a kind of music in Brazil that was played mostly with the pandeiro. It's a Brazilian percussion instrument, a guitar, and a flute. So I listened to a lot of that. Pixinguinha was a great influence. Singers. So these artists that I'm mentioning are, not female singers, if that's what the question is. So female singers, mostly, I guess when I became a teenager, started to listen to Marisa Monte. She's a great influence, I would say. Marisa Monte, she's a Brazilian singer. These are MPB singers. That's another genre in Brazil. Djavan. Then you have all of the, Chico Buarque, Antônio Carlos Jobim. These are all great influences. And then as far as female singers that I love Bebel Gilberto. She's the daughter of João Gilberto. I love Bebel. I love Eliane Elias. I love Eliane Elias. We went to watch Bebel in Atlanta, and we both loved that while she was singing a song, there was one moment that she did this. It became her a little inner joke. I love Eliane Elias. She's a Brazilian singer from São Paulo, but she came to the United States and went to school and became this really great pianist and singer. So I love her a lot. I think Marisa Monte, Bebel, and Eliane Elias. I like, how do you say? Sade?
Yeah, Sade.
Sade, yeah.
I love Sade. I love Sade. And I listened to her when I was a kid because both my parents loved her and just had her playing around the house. So I would say she's one too.
No, that's a perfect one. Perfect one. Chad, I want to know, what is the hardest thing about doing a mural?
Probably the weather.
That's
it's outside, now is like a really tough time in the summertime here to do murals. Typically you need to get up really early to beat the sun afternoon, and then rain's always a factor too. So yeah, that's the hardest.
Are you ever afraid of heights up in the lift?
No, my dad always had me get up on a ladder growing up, and I feel like that was kind of a reason for me to do mural. I mean, not a reason, but now my dad never saw me do murals. He died before I started doing mural work. So I feel like I can feel my dad up there saying, "Don't be scared, you'll be okay."
That's awesome. All right, Nate, where is your, I want to ask this because, as you know, my baby lives in London, and I know that you perform quite a bit there. Where is your favorite place in London to perform?
Oh, well, that one's easy. That's Ronnie Scott's.
Okay.
Ronnie Scott's is an iconic venue on Frith Street. It's been there since I think Ronnie's has been there since the 50s. I think it's that old. It might be the 60s, but I think it's been there since the 50s. And they had a refurbishment a few years ago. And anyway, it's the perfect size. It seats a little less than 300. It feels full at about 150. The room sounds fantastic. It's just an iconic venue. Anybody has played there, and also I have. So, but definitely, if you're talking the UK, Ronnie's is the spot in London. That said, one of the greatest places that I've played, if you want to talk about it, just a warm reception. In Cornwall, there's a town called St. Ives, and it's literally, it's not quite the tip of the UK, but it's basically
the southernmost shore.
Yeah, well, and the western tip. The St. Ives is on the west, in Cornwall, and St. Ives, it's people go there and they say, I'm going to become an artist because it's just so beautiful, and so there's all kinds of little galleries and shops where you can buy paint and stuff. But it's a holiday town for all intents and purposes. But there's a fantastic jazz club in St. Ives, the St. Ives Jazz Club, and they have a room that seats about 200 in the bottom of the Western Hotel. nice stage, good sound system. Every time I've played there, it's been packed. It's really, it's quite a journey to get there from London. So you usually pick up a gig the night before en route, on the way. But the St. Ives Jazz Club is really spectacular in terms of the warmth of the audience and the feeling of the room. And so if you're not in London, that's a place that I really love. I haven't been there in a few years. I played their September festival. So the town of St. Ives every year in September has a 2-week arts festival. That's just magnificent. And so I've played the September festival a few times.
Beautiful.
But anyway, yes, so Ronnie Scott's and the St. Ives Jazz Club, depending on what part of the UK we're in.
Well, the next time I visit, I'm going to have to go there, or maybe I'll even plan a visit for when you're going to be in town. That would be amazing.
Idyllic. It's absolutely idyllic.
Where has been your favorite city to perform, Daniela?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? It cut it off a little.
Where has been your favorite city to perform? Where was just kind of magical?
Well, I was very proud and so excited to perform at the Blue Note in New York last year. That was a huge achievement for me. So that was definitely the most exciting place I played at. Having said that, I love the Palladium right here in St. Petersburg, Florida. Sure. I love the Palladium.
It's a beautiful
place. Yeah, and I also really liked this little room called the Back Room
I love that place.
In Berkeley, California. That was really nice. They have couches instead of chairs. Just the whole vibe of the place was really cool. So yeah, I would say Blue Note, Palladium, and the Back Door in Berkeley.
So Chad, speaking of geography, you're such a mainstay here in St. Pete, but when you travel, where's some of your favorite places to visit?
Probably California. I do love like Pacific Northwest too, like Portland. And we went to Vancouver a couple years ago, which was awesome. Anywhere that's like different than here.
The lush and green as opposed to the sandy.
I went with my family last September to Italy. My mother had never been out of the country. We went for her 70th birthday, and I'm so lucky that we did it right before everything started this year.
Closed down, yeah.
So
I followed those pics. They were awesome.
That was cool. We did 11 cities in 9 days. It was a quick trip.
I love it. All right, everyone. We are getting down to, we've got some more bids. I think we've got a bid in. The last one is $200. So everyone, start thinking about it, because we're going to be closing this down. We're going to be announcing the winner in about 9 minutes. So, or maybe 8. Anyway, very soon. So get your bids in. And we are going to go now to the weird segment that I do in the live in the live show. Those of you who are friends of fans of Inside the Actors Studio and James Lipton, who we lost this past year, know that he always asks these weird questions. So we're already in question asking mode. So we're going to move it into something that's kind of strange, but in doing so, I think it gives our audience a little more insight about you, or, some little things that they might not have otherwise known. All right. So, all right, we're going to start with Nate and Daniela and ask, what would you do? What would you have done if you weren't making a career out of music?
You go first.
I can't picture myself doing anything but music. Really, I can't. But I love dancing. Maybe I could have been a ballerina.
Well, your grandmother,
that's right. And my mother also was a ballerina. So
there you go. Beautiful. Nate, what about you?
I am fascinated with how things work. And I love taking things apart and putting them back together. I grew up kind of that way. And I have a background in commercial construction. because that's the business my family was in when I was a child, and I grew up in it. With the exception of the early mornings, which do not do well for me.
I feel you.
I cannot imagine doing anything else. I've been playing the guitar since I was a child, and I nearly did not graduate high school because I never went to class and I never turned in any work because all I wanted to do was play the guitar. So I'm a musician through and through. But that said, I would probably be heavily involved in construction otherwise, because I like knowing how things go together and how they come apart, and then there's a satisfaction to when it comes together. I did that and it worked. And then the other thing is, you're the only one to blame if it falls apart. So you better do it right. But like, I'm always, I fix things around the house, and I work on all my guitars. I'm always screwing around with something. And
I love it.
So yeah,
what
I like tools.
Okay. Now we know what to get you for Christmas.
I built our recording studio. I mean, it's in a warehouse, and I'm in the back, in the warehouse part. I've got all these tools and stuff, and I'm building walls and in between wall flat things and all kinds of. I built the whole studio. I wired it myself, everything. So
beautiful. Chad, same to you. If you weren't an artist, what would you be?
So I always wanted to be like a DJ, like a radio DJ. I think when I was a kid, I actually wrote that down at some point. My favorite color was brown, and I wanted to be a DJ.
That was one of my other questions for you. What's your favorite color?
Well, not now.
Not now. It was brown. Now what does it evolve to?
I like black. Okay,
me too.
So I wear a lot of black, so that's probably my favorite color.
Me too, for obvious reasons. All right. Chad, what's your favorite junk food?
Anything my boyfriend cooks. Like the cookies.
Wait, did you just call his food junk?
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan.
Not the dinner.
I know for a fact his food is really good.
It is.
It's incredible. All the desserts.
Shout out to the wonderful chef Dan Schmidt.
Yeah. Uptown.
Cindy.
Yes.
Fun fact, Dan Schmidt was my high school music teacher.
What?
Get out.
It was his first job out of college. I think he was 23, maybe.
Oh,
it was
he
finished at college.
See, you always learn stuff.
My junior year in high school was his first year teaching music at St. Pete High.
Incredible.
So I've known Dan since I was 15 years old.
Daniela, do you have a favorite junk food?
Favorite junk food. Is Applebee's considered junk food?
Yes.
It is in my book. I love Applebee's. I love their mozzarella sticks. I would say that's my favorite junk food.
Chinese chicken salad. All right. So
wait, Cindy, you have to ask me what my favorite color is.
What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is gray.
I like gray. Yeah.
No, are you looking at the screen?
For obvious reasons, yes.
Are you looking at the screen?
I am.
Django is really, really good at balancing exposure on the camera, because he's the perfect middle gray. He's right in between about 40 and 60 on the exposure scale. So anyway, I just wanted you to see Django, that's all.
I love it. And he's perfectly gray. All right, last question. What do you like best about yourself? And this is always a hard question to answer for obvious reasons, but what do you like best about yourself, Daniela?
Oh, to me? I think that I'm generally a very positive person who looks for the good in every situation. So I think that really keeps me ahead in so many ways, emotionally, in all the ways, really. I think that really serves me well and everybody around me as well. I would say that's one of my best traits.
That's a lovely thing. to be best at? Nate?
I'm tall, dark, and handsome.
Ah.
Oh, wait. I'm neither dark nor handsome. I am tall, though. No, I always kind of make an effort to be objective about situations. And I'm not going to lie, I lose it every now and then. But I make an effort to be objective and to, consider all angles and do the right thing. And one of the best things that's ever happened to me is being involved with Daniela, because she is such a positive individual that she has enhanced my ability to be both objective and positive. And I appreciate that.
That's a perfect answer. Chad, what is the thing you like best about yourself? And that will be our last question.
Probably like just hardworking, like my family. I come from a family of hard workers, and not really coming from money, just working hard. I've worked for everything that I have, and I've worked for myself since 2001. So just, I don't know. I think when you wake up every morning and you like what you do, it's not really work, but it is a lot of work.
Right. I got you.
But when you love what you do, you want to work more, right, Chad?
Yeah.
That's when you become a truly workaholic. When you love what you do, you don't want to do anything else but that.
And then it's really not work at all, is it?
That's right.
Oh, it's still work.
It's still
it doesn't feel like work.
I agree.
We have a big whiteboard in the office at our studio, and it's just covered. Every day things get crossed off and things get written, and it's just covered. That thing will never get cleaned.
I don't want it cleaned. That means we would have no work.
All right. So we've been continuing to put your social media information up. Chad, why don't you bring down your picture? I know you've still got some doodles to fill in. You will complete it. It's your last chance to get in a bid, because I am about to announce a winner. I'm going to say, I'm going to just count down from 10, and that'll be it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the winning bid is from Barbara St. Clair, $200. Congratulations, Barbara. That's amazing. $200 will be going to Rock the Vote.
Awesome. Thank you.
Which is extremely important. All right, everyone. I cannot thank you enough for sharing, Nate and Daniela sharing your beautiful music, Chad sharing your incredible talents. There is still an opportunity at any point to go to creativepinellas.org/tiptheartist. If you have appreciated what you have seen during these crazy times. They need the support, and they continue to give us wonderful entertainment, and we should show our appreciation for that. Chad, we will make sure that we come to the next show. We'll visit the gallery on Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And check out the current show online, right?
Yep,
We have an upcoming live show at the Blue Bamboo Center for the Arts on July 24th
in Orlando.
And there are only 14 tickets left. So if you guys want to see us live, that's the opportunity, because there are no live shows whatsoever right now. But we do have a live stream every Friday on our Facebook at 7:30 p.m. as well. So we'll be back tomorrow for an hour of love and bossa nova
on our balcony with the beautiful downtown St. Pete in the background.
Beautiful. Yeah. Chad, just finish telling us about the show that you've got online.
The current one is Don't Ask, Do Tell. It's a pride show. It's 21 LGBTQIA+ artists, and it's up till July 3rd. Saturday hours 11 to 7.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, so much. You've been amazing guests, as you always have been. This week marks year 6 of Beauty in the Burg, if you can believe that. Our
That's amazing.
Anniversary, and I can't think of better guests to help me celebrate 6 years on the air. So thank you so much.
Oh, we
Cindy,
are
thank you
completely
so
delighted
much.
to be here. Thank you.
We're
for having
honored
us.
to be part of it.
And
thank
Creative
you.
Pinellas, thank you for hosting this.
Of course, Creative Pinellas, the team worked so hard. Kimberly Lee, Charlene, Sherry, Tabitha, everyone works so hard. Barbara at the helm. We're so grateful to everyone at Creative Pinellas. And that is going to do it for Beauty in the Burg, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back on July the 30th with another great show. Take care.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.